This meeting is now being recorded.
Good morning, all. My name is David Goldis. I'm the publisher of Frequent Business Traveler, and welcome to Smart Tools for Corporate Travel Managers, sponsored by Acura Media Group and Lounge Buddy. Today we're going to look at some burning issues that impact corporate travel, the corporate traveler, and the corporate travel manager. Our focus is on the tools that keep people informed, productive, connected, and knowledgeable while both traveling and managing corporate travel. But before we start, we have a quick poll we'd like you to take. We'll share the results of the poll later on in the presentation. The question is, what is the greatest challenge or burning issue that you face as a corporate travel manager? I'll give everybody a couple of seconds to answer the question, and then we'll continue. Okay, moving on. Here to look at some issues under the microscope is Frequent Business Traveler's editorial director, Jonathan Spira, who is also head of Acura's research arm. Jonathan?
I'm no longer muted. That's great. David, thank you very much. Here come the slides. So we're going to look at some of the issues that are facing corporate travel managers, and the corporate traveler himself. We're going to look a little bit under the hood at cost control, productivity, compliance and policy adherence, risk management, and travel safety, and some general issues. In addition, we're then going to spotlight 4 different tools that we've come across in our research that will help corporate travel managers and the individual corporate traveler as well. But first, I've had some interesting conversations that I wanted to relate to you, and these were just in the last 2 weeks. I tend to travel a lot, and I found I've had some very interesting people next to me, both in airline lounges and also on the plane. Just about a week ago, a director of content management at a commercial bank had a very, very blunt statement to me when he found out what I do. I hate our corporate travel system, he said. I don't know which system he has, but he went on to complain about the user interface and how slow it was and how things had to be redone and how it never seemed to work for the individual traveler. Another company did not, the vice president of sales at an insurance firm, did not seem to like the travel management company very much, feeling that it charges a fortune for doing very little. And that person who I sat next to on a 4-hour flight was quite strong in her feelings. Finally, I had a really interesting conversation with a manager of corporate travel at a pharmaceutical company who was telling me about the lack of information available to him on critical stuff like new airline routes, hotel renovations, hotel openings that would impact what he does and what his staff does for him. So now what we did here, because we have a little bit of a time constraint and I could probably spend about 2 hours going into a lot of these issues, I just wanted to summarize what we're looking at in terms of the issues that corporate travel managers face when it comes to cost control. And please, if you want, tell me afterwards what we're missing, because you may have some other issues that we have not listed here. But when it comes down to cost, everything is expensive, and it's really hard to manage costs because the prices are constantly changing. Even with contracted costs, there's still a lot of black magic, as one travel manager said to me, that goes into the formula. A bunch of people recently cited to me that they have trouble negotiating what they consider the best rates with suppliers. They feel sometimes that they're getting less favorable rates than people might get when going directly to a website or even to a discount website like Hotel Tonight. The existence of services like Hotel Tonight and others was a big bone of contention that a lot of people mentioned in terms of competing with the corporate travel system in order to meet budget. Other things which really came up were nuisance fees. One of the most popular discussion topics I seem to get into is the issue of free Wi-Fi at hotels. And I'm still waiting for hotels to have working Wi-Fi in some cases. So free, while it sounds great, I'd rather pay a little bit and ensure it's working than worry about the free. Another great issue is the concern over productivity of the business traveler. This is something that gets overlooked, especially when someone's on a 23-hour flight connecting in Singapore. But there's a tremendous amount of tremendous amount of downtime. And while a lot of aircraft are making it a little bit easier with in-flight Wi-Fi, the challenges that the business traveler faces are great. In addition, we're still dealing with the problem of information overload, which is only growing. When we last calculated the amount of information overload, which was for the year 2010, in the United States alone, it came up to $997 billion in the U.S. economy. And that is a huge number, and given the fact that that mostly impacts knowledge workers who are largely the core contingent of business traveler, that's a very, very important figure. The next thing we're up against is compliance and policy adherence. Depending on which survey you're reading, as much as 50% or more of business travelers don't really follow the rules, don't comply with policy, don't put their information into the system, don't look through the system. And a lot of it gets down to you end up with two byproducts. You end up with inaccurate and or delayed reports. And that really makes it difficult when it comes to calculating costs, dealing with reimbursement, and simply managing the overall travel experience. And finally, what a lot of people tell me they're looking for are incentives to help drive these business behaviors in the right direction. And finally, when it gets down to general issues, there's information overload again. I mean, the problem is that information overload, as I described in my book, is death by 1,000 paper cuts. You simply drown, and the most important information is overwhelmed by puppies and apparently the color of a dress. Poor search tools within the corporate system and also within the corporate travel system is a huge issue, and this is something that a content manager mentioned to me yesterday on the flight, that the systems still are not user-friendly. And that seems to be a common denominator of something I've heard. So there's a huge challenge of what we have to do to really deal with that. And finally, risk management and traveler safety. You all are familiar with this. I am more or less preaching to the choir when I put this up on the slide, but these are all issues that, in concert with everything else the corporate travel manager has to track, these are simply icing on the cake. So that's pretty much it right now in terms of my overall presentation. We want to get, we're going to go back and start looking at some of the smart tools right now. So, David?
Thank you, Jonathan. We're going to look at 4 innovative tools that address some of the issues that Jonathan has just covered. They are Acura News for Enterprise, Lounge Buddy, Expert Flyer, and Concur TripLink. Just as an aside, for those people who have joined late, we do have a poll that we are collecting questions answers to, excuse me. So if you can just click on your polling button and answer them, we would appreciate that, and we can share the results later on in the presentation. Jonathan, you're up.
Thank you again. I'm really excited and also kind of switching roles here from presenting research to talking about the Acura News for Enterprise product. This is something that we've been developing over the past 2 years that essentially is designed to bring actionable business travel news to the corporate portal. And we do this in several ways. The first is a really cool web app, which I'll be showing you in a moment. And we'll be able to make demo versions available to everyone here on the call. You'll be able to play with it yourself in real time and share it with colleagues in a limited fashion. And also, it's a stream of news that you can integrate into your corporate portal and your travel page. As someone I was just speaking to yesterday said, but there is no way of doing it. and then I pulled out my laptop and said, here it is, and miraculously, that person was sold on the idea, or maybe not so miraculously. So Acura News is, I always describe Acura News as a sort of miniature Associated Press focusing on business travel news. And this allows us to focus on the key news and information that business travelers and corporate travel managers need to manage their work. One of the things I should emphasize is that this is all original content written by the editorial staff, managed by our news editor, and it's not aggregated or anything else. It's not someone else's content. It's all from our own resources, but it's all in real time and actionable as it's happening. The coverage in the news feed is divided into 4 categories. Air and air travel news, and this gets into what airlines are introducing, whether it's routes, new cabin interiors, new airplanes, which fly more efficiently, code shares, which will make it easier for you to work with your contracted airline, frequent flyer program news, which is important to many of your business travelers, and just general industry news, which is important to you to keep tabs on. Similarly, in hotels, information about new hotels that are opening, major renovations of hotels, which might mean you might want to reconsider a property that you may have written off for reasons prior. Reflaggings, again, you might want to reconsider a property if it's now within your contracted group. Guest loyalty program news, which is a major issue for business travelers who want to keep their upgrades and status up, and general industry news. Of course, this would be incomplete without news about weather, delays, strikes. For example, in France and Germany, we've probably seen at least, and this is only the middle of March, 10 strike-related articles in the past 3 months. These all impact our ability to travel, the travel manager's ability to do his or her work, and we try and make sure you're getting it in a timely manner. And finally, there are reviews. Hotel reviews, flight reviews, car reviews, because, of course, how do you travel? Most of the time, once you land, is often by car, and destination guides. Our reviews are very experiential. We call them as we see them. We include the good, bad, the unusual in the review, and because we're not beholden to advertisers in any manner, shape, or form, they're just representative of the review's experience. I also want to share with you the companies that already read the Acura News Service, and this is just a random sampling, but it gives you an idea of the depth and breadth of companies that are looking at, could be looking at, or presumably an employee there is looking at the Acura News right now, through either the feed or the web app or something similar. One of the things I get asked is, how will this help me? And I always like to cite the example of a tech company that discovered a new route from the Bay Area to Chengdu. United just launched SFO CTU service. I was actually on the launch flight, which was a blast because I got to see the very cute pandas in Chengdu. And the company in question had roughly 80 to 100 people who traveled to China a month back and forth in business class because of the time of the flight. And finding out the news about the nonstop cut somewhere between 8 to 10 hours off the travel experience per leg, and the flight was cheaper. So that resulted in significant saving. And this is just one flight, one example, happened to be a particularly important example, but it gives a good idea of why keeping up with news can be important and why when important news rises serendipitously to the top and surfaces, it makes it actionable. There are 3 components of the Acura News for Enterprise service. I'm going to just quickly go through them. As I said, we have the ability to make a live demo available to you after, so we'll get back to you on that. The first is the feed, which I already covered the news. When you get the feed, you can make it available via your desktop or mobile systems in any way you want. And here's just a generic example of how it would appear on your corporate portal page. You can see the arrows pointing to the business travel news section, and this is just a standard corporate portal otherwise, and that's how it can fit in. The web app, which is actually something I'm extremely passionate about, is a very, very different system. It allows you to select specific topics you need to cover, and it filters the content down to what you need to see in this specific topic. Let me go right to what it looks like. It consists of 6 streams of information. It's basically fully embeddable. It's a blank in terms of corporate identity. You embed it in your corporate portal. Each person who uses it gets to select the 6 topics from the pull-down menus. And if you're, for example, a corporate travel manager dealing with hotels, you might pick the 3 hotel groups or whichever you focus on to manage. You could pick Hilton, Starwood, Marriott, if those are the 3, or Kempinski, or Hyatt, or others. If you're working on the airline side, you could pick the airlines you have contracts with, or you could pick airlines you're thinking about and keep track of their news. In addition, topics, everything from region, Austria, Japan, Germany, etc., and topics such as new airline routes and hotel renovations is available as a topic as well. And these streams just stay with you. Again, you just go back to your page, it's updated, and it just sits there. This is just integrated into a portal we call World Portal, as an example of how it would fit in that. But as you can see, the page itself has very low corporate identity. And who can use it ranges from people in travel, procurement, people who manage travel for executives and managers such as administrative assistants, and obviously there's even a travel geek element. I hear a lot of feedback from business travelers who are really into the travel experience, and I hear that they like it as well, although it's more fun for them than it is in a business use case. But fun is allowed too. Finally, we have an optional newsletter that we produce which can comply to your corporate identity standards, and it allows you to take travel news that you want to disseminate, whether it's on a weekly or monthly basis, and push it out. And you can also include internal corporate notices such as policy updates, specific news from your company as well. And it kind of, this is not a generic, this is our newsletter, Frequent Business Traveler Weekly, that we send out, and it can look like this, or it can look like something that is in line with your corporate identity standards as well. So clearly we have to show something, so we show this version. So I pretty much covered everything I really want to get into in terms of the Acura News for Enterprise product. I should mention, you may be wondering how vastly expensive this is. It's not. The average cost per month is, in the 3 digits, and it's based on employee population size. And we've done a lot to make sure we keep the cost very, very reasonable. But keeping track of news can save tens of thousands of dollars in a small period of time and hundreds of thousands, if not more, over the budget year. It can help you optimize your travels and your travel spend, both on hotel and air and rental car. And also, one thing I'm hearing back, you can involve the employees in the travel process by disseminating this information. So the additional benefits we've heard from corporate travel managers relate to giving an incentive to employees to use the online travel resources your company already has, such as booking systems, by putting travel news on that page, bringing people into the travel page, and making it simply easier for the corporate traveler to comply with your policies and to make your job easier. So I'll leave you, I won't read these aloud, I'll just leave you with some comments we've gotten from people who are subscribing to the service. The second comment is very recent. You can see how the weather wreaked havoc for many corporate travel managers, and we were particularly pleased to get that feedback. So at this point, I'll turn it back to David Goldis, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Jonathan. Next up, we have Tyler Dickman from LoungeBuddy. Okay, Tyler, you're all set to go.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, David. I'm Tyler Dickman, and I'm the CEO of LoungeBuddy here. And I'm going to pull up my presentation here. David, are you able to select my presentation for me here?
Hang on.
Wonderful. Okay, here we are. So once again, my name is Tyler Dickman, and I'm the CEO of LoungeBuddy. So let's be honest. I'm sure you can probably picture yourself in one of these scenarios here, whether it's trying to find a power outlet just to be able to plug in your laptop and get a bit of power before your flight, as there is a bit of uncertainty as to whether your flight will actually have in-seat power, or queuing up in line, whether it's for just checking your bag or going through security, boarding your flight, or just trying to get that latte at Starbucks when everybody is there at 7 o'clock in the morning before their early morning flight. Or just trying to grab a bite to eat and pulling out your laptop and hoping that the two children that are sitting on either side of you at that communal table of the food court are going to spill their 44-ounce soda on your lap or your laptop. Or once you actually get to the gate area, finding that there isn't even a single seat available for you if you want to be within earshot of any boarding announcements. Of course, one thing all comes in common with all of these, and that is that we all experience these in one way or another in the form of air travel stress. Well, it's not just you. Just in the U.S. alone, there are over 460 million annual business trips per year, and 60% of these trips have at least one layover in order to get to your destination. For those business travelers that are flying internationally, your typical layover is about 3 hours. If you're one of those people like me who says, well, I get to the airport at the very last minute, I have TSA pre-check, I have global entry, I have elite status and all those good things, even people like myself have a 1 in 6 chance of a major disruption in the form of a significant delay, cancellation, misconnect, overbooking, whatever it might be. Well, fortunately, it doesn't have to be. Airport lounges were created for business travelers and premium travelers in mind to be able to help you make the most of your time in the airport. Whether it's finding a business center to be able to be productive and print out that report before your flight, or finding a place to be able to take a nap, freshen up, grab a shower, or just having a relaxing space to be able to have a comfortable chair, have a place to plug in your laptop, have some privacy, and not have a whole bunch of screaming children running around. Airport lounges have, flexible environment that make it very conducive for business travelers to feel a little bit at home or have that workplace, away from their office. Well, Lounge Buddy basically is that link between the traveler and their business trip and getting you into that oasis that's productive and stress-free, all in less than 60 seconds. This is how we do it. Basically, you can download the Lounge Buddy app for free for your iPhone or Android, and tell us a little about yourself. So the scenario that we're looking at here is tell us about the airport that you're looking for lounge access, view available pricing, amenities, photos, ratings, and reviews, select the lounge that's of interest to you, all for a typical price around $35, have complete purchase, have your confirmation in your hand, and walk into that lounge with guaranteed access, all in less than 60 seconds. We currently have global partners across the U.S., Canada, Europe, and Asia. And actually, this map is out of date. We just added some select partners in South America as well. So Lounge Buddy is virtually everywhere you want us to be. And for those business travelers who already have access to airport lounges, the elite travelers, the first and business class flyers, the premium credit card holders, our free app, which again is available for iPhone or Android, is the only single resource for airport lounge information in the world. We have a lounge access wizard of over 40,000 access rules that can take into account your elite status, your lounge memberships, your premium credit cards, as well as your class of service, the airline you're flying on, and the airports you're flying through, and show you exactly which lounges are accessible to you for free or available for purchase, as well as what's inside these lounges, along with information such as reviews, photos, and ratings from our community of over 300,000 members around the world. We're already the go-to app, named a must-have app for airport delays by Condé Nast Traveler, and have been featured in over 300 publications, including Reuters, CNBC's Squawk on the Street, and even GQ named us one of the best business expenses of all trip. One of our fantastic partners, who will be talking, I think, in a few minutes here, is Concur. So Concur customers can actually synchronize their trips with LoungeBuddy, view available lounges, and instantly purchase access. Last year, Concur named us the best travel innovation of 2014. So we've actually just launched a corporate program, and basically what this entails is any of your business travelers, of course, can download LoungeBuddy for free for information, ratings, and reviews. If travelers are interested in purchasing access, we can offer you a special code that you can distribute to all of your travelers that gives them a special discount off of their first visit. And then we can also provide you an ongoing 15% rebate for the next 6 months. Again, that comes at no cost. And I emphasize here that there are no memberships or any special contracts required. We are truly a pay-as-you-go type program when you want to purchase access. But the information is always free of cost. Enrolling in this program is completely free, and essentially we just gather a few details from you in order to track your employees and then issue you a 15% rebate that can be used for future LoungeBuddy purchases. Also, we are providing $45 in free LoungeBuddy credit to all of those that are a part of this meeting so that they can try it, so that you can try it firsthand and see just how easy LoungeBuddy is and how helpful LoungeBuddy can be along the way for your trip. So thank you very much for listening, and thank you, David. Appreciate it.
Great. Thank you very much, Tyler. Next up, we have Chris Lopinto of Expert Flyer. Okay, Chris, you're all set to go.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Chris Lopinto, and I'm the president and co-founder of ExpertFlyer.com. And today I'm just going to spend a few minutes and tell you about our services for you and frequent flyers. So Expert Flyer has an interesting history. We actually just celebrated our 10-year anniversary in January. We launched in January of 2005, and what we do is we provide services to frequent flyers and business travelers, and also corporate travel managers, to solve a need that's been around for a very long time, which is that frequent flyers want information that they can't get through traditional online sources. So what we do is, through access to the same GDSs that you have access to, we offer information about flights in a read-only fashion to our customers through our website. So it's an unbiased research tool for the frequent flyers, business travelers. Most of our customers have elite status on one or more airlines, and half of them have a top-tier elite status on one or more airlines. So you're familiar with the demand of who we cater to. Now, just so we're clear, we don't compete with you in any way. We are not a booking engine, a meta search engine, a low-fare search site. We don't price tickets. We don't compete with TNCs or agents. What our customers pay for in our monthly or yearly subscription service is unique data with value-added service on top of it that you really can't find anywhere else. So what are these services? Well, let's go over the popular ones. The most popular service that we have is award and upgrade availability searching. So with our exclusive feature, we have access to awards and/or upgrade inventory for about 40 and change airlines. The highlights being that we have a special arrangement with American Airlines to get an AA and US not only award inventory but upgrade inventory, which you otherwise would have to call into their call center to find out. So I'm sure many of you have customers that may hound you about, what are the loads on the flight? Where can I get my upgrade availability? Which flights are can I use my stickers on now, or which flights are most likely to be upgraded if I book that flight? Well, Expert Flyer tells you that. We have unique search tools that show you the same fare class availability that you see, but also award and upgrade bucket inventory classes that for agents is very hard to tease out, and for the end traveler is nearly impossible to get without calling into a call center. Now, on top of that data, a year into our launch, we launched a service called Flight Alert, which basically does alerting on top of that. So let's say you have a customer that has already booked in coach on a flight, but of course they have elite status on their airline and they want to be alerted to when there might be an upgrade possibility for the status or any other upgrade instrument. Well, we can do that. So XtraFlyer has a unique tool which you tell us what flight or flights you want to monitor, and we will monitor the flight, the inventory, the award or upgrade inventory of the flights, or even their class of availability inventory, and then notify you or the customer when that inventory becomes available. So take some of the pain out of frequent flyers using their elite status to their greatest benefit without having to constantly bug you about if an upgrade is available yet. Another couple of features we have, seat maps. We show available, occupied, and elite and paid inventory for all cabins for about 150 different airlines. Most of the airlines that have pre-assigned seating, with the exception of Delta. This may sound simple from a TNC point of view, but for the traveler, this is a very important thing because many airline websites don't even show a seat map until after a ticket is booked. And a lot of times travelers, especially frequent flyers, want to be able to, especially on long-haul flights, want to be able to sit in the seats that they want to sit in. They know which are the good seats through useful tools like Seat Guru. So they value that information, and that's something that we offer as a before ticketing research tool. Again, something that now you as a service provider don't necessarily have to waste time on. And also on top of that, we created an alerting layer called Seat Alert, which we launched in 2009. Because nowadays there are more paid seats and blocked and pre-allocated seats, this is very frustrating for travelers. So we are the first solution created to take the frustration out of that. It's an advanced solution that takes into account elite status. So a lot of times, especially for elite travelers, they can get access to paid seats or premium seats based on their status. And since we have direct access into the GDS data where we see the exact status of a seat, our alerting service can do that. So on our website, for the consumer version, what this means is that a person who's, say, stuck in the middle seat in coach can simply create a seat alert with a few clicks and say, notify me when a window seat or an aisle seat becomes available, or maybe two seats together if they're traveling with someone. These are things that before your customers have had to ask you and you've had to keep tabs on. I've heard of horror stories where TMCs keep track of available seats by putting a TNR in a queue, and then someone just keeps checking the queue every day to check a seat map to see if a better seat is opened up. That's a very inefficient and non-productive approach. So one of the things that we actually did was to have this technology work with TMCs. We actually created a Sabre Red app. So for those of you who are on the Sabre Red platform, you can download our Seat Alert Sabre Red app directly from the Sabre Red App Store and use the Seat Alert functionality right in your Sabre workspace. We also have an API for the Seat Alert functionality, so any larger TMC with back-end functionality can integrate it right into their back-end. XtraFlyer, the service, has other features like fare cost availability, flight status, fare rules and restrictions, all sorts of functions like that, things that frequent flyers love to get access to. So that's where we came from, and that's all other features like that we still have. Now, who is XtraFlyer for? So the way XtraFlyer.com works is it's a subscription service, and a very inexpensive one at that. Basic searching starts at $5 a month per person, And if you want the alerting services and other advanced searches, it goes up to a whopping $10 a month or $100 a year. So you can get a yearly discount. This is a price point that has served the frequent flyer and TNC community well for the last 10 years, and we find it delivers a lot of value for not a lot of money, which is always appreciated. So for TNC, this is a tool that can help you service your customers better. It's an automated tool. It's easy to use and keep checking a GDS, especially terminal-based GDS. And with the Safer Red App Receipt Alerts, we can automate it even further for you. For your customers, now this may be something that you want to give to your customers. So we can do if there's a large enough fine, we can do a corporate discount, or this is something that you can gift to your best customers to, well, basically keep them off your face about things like, do I have a better seat, do I have an upgrade? And also, we have an affiliate program. So if you have a large customer set that you think may benefit from this as a preliminary research tool so that when they come to you, they know what they want instead of your agent spending a lot of time, unproductive time doing research for the customer, this could be a way to eliminate some of that and even earn a commission in the process. Excuse me. So we think it's a great service, but you don't necessarily have to take our word for it. Over the years, we've been written up in a lot of somewhat important publications and who have sung our praises. So as you can see, we've been around. We're not even startup anymore. So we have a very honed product to serve you and your customer set, and we hope you give it a try. If you go to our website, expertflyer.com, we have a free trial for those who have not signed up before, a 5-day free trial of our pro service, and tons of screenshots and a full matrix of exactly what we do. If you click on the Learn More button under our pro service, you will see exactly what we do. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. And last but not least, we're going to hear from Mike Ketting, showing us Concur TripLink. Okay, Mike, you're all set to go.
Great, thank you. Hello, everyone. Let me get to the first slide here. David, thank you for letting me join the group today. I know we've got several travel managers on the phone who have been friends of mine for years, some of whom were hoping that I'd be wearing that cheeky outfit that you had in the original photo. Sorry to disappoint them. What I would like to talk about, though, is Concur TripLink. So let's get started. This question, do you believe that managed travel has value? I know some of you may think this is a rhetorical question, but, you know, as I listened to Jonathan's comments and the feedback that he had from travelers at the very start of our discussion today, it occurs to me this actually isn't a rhetorical question. And frequently we're asked and challenged, do we think that managed travel has value? And my perspective is absolutely, positively, yes. I think the challenge, however, is that many of us are trying to manage 21st century travelers with tools and technology, frankly, that have been in the market since 1995. And that's very challenging, creates a lot of frustration for us as we try to manage travelers as well as those travelers. The problem, I think, isn't that travelers are booking outside the system. We know that's happening. That's been happening for years. That trend continues to grow. Really, the problem is that we can only track and manage those travelers when they book inside the system. So I would suggest that our solution is more of one that we want to change the way the system works so that we can accommodate all these 21st century travelers. Right? You've heard the acronym, or you've heard the saying, if the only tool you have is a hammer, then every problem looks like a nail. And I would suggest that's definitely true here, right? We have a system that was designed to work just one way, and the challenge is how can we change that system to accommodate 21st century travelers? we're all familiar with this booking mechanism, right? This is the way the industry has run for years and years and years, right? We're either asking our travelers to use a booking tool or to call a travel agent, in which case that information goes to Concur, and that's just fantastic. The opportunity for us, however, is to broaden the way managed travel works, broaden our toolkit so that we can also now manage reservations that a traveler just forwards to Concur using TripLink, or using a process that I'll demonstrate for you in just a moment, where the supplier, the traveler is making the booking directly at the supplier, but doing it in a way that allows them to obtain the benefits of your managed travel program. If we look at the managed travel program and kind of compare the different distribution channels today, we can see why the traditional managed travel channel continues to offer so much value to our travelers. And we can see why, as travel managers, we tend to object to travelers going directly to the supplier. They tend to miss out on negotiated rates. We can't apply policy to them. We miss duty of care. Expense reporting is a problem, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We believe with the solution that I'm going to show you in just a moment that when we apply TripLink processes to that supplier.com booking, we're able, again, to expand that managed travel toolkit to include not just the traditional channels, but also bookings made directly with the supplier. So let's go through how it works. I'm going to give you just a quick example using some screenshots of a booking via TripLink to Starwood, and this is the process I'm going to go through. The first step, obviously, is the customer, the corporation, needs to purchase TripLink. The good news is we have over 2,200 corporate clients who have done just exactly that. When the client purchases TripLink, all the partners are available in the App Center. By the way, that's the same place that travelers go to take advantage of great partners like LoungeBuddy. The traveler then connects their Concur profile with their loyalty account at that supplier, does their booking at the supplier site, and that reservation comes back to Concur. So just real quickly, I'm going to walk you through those screenshots so you can see what that looks like. The first step, as I mentioned, is your traveler having access to our App Center. When they go to the App Center, they'll see all the various suppliers with whom they can link their accounts. You can see this is a screenshot. I've already linked my account, so it's got the green check mark there that I'm connected. If I have for some reason I want to disconnect, I can do that here too. But that's what your travelers would look to do the initial connection. Or in just a few weeks, we'll be launching an auto connect process that allows travelers to connect with a variety of suppliers all at one time, both those suppliers that are available today and those suppliers that will be coming soon, simply by inputting their loyalty account number with each of those providers. So after I've made my connection, I've connected my account with my SPG loyalty number, and like any other frequent traveler, I want to make sure I get my points, so the next time I'm shopping at SPG, I simply sign into my account. You can see that's where I've signed in at the top right. Now when I go to search for a hotel, this is really a huge benefit. My company is headquartered in Bellevue. I go to Bellevue quite often. Again, I book at SPG. You'll see what happened here. Very important. Automatically, SPG identified my corporate account that I'm entitled to, and now I get access to a room rate that's $292 with free Wi-Fi versus what otherwise would have been the best available rate of $402. So a huge savings that's available because for the first time, SPG knows that Mike Ketting is entitled to the corporate discount. And this is obviously a benefit to the supplier as well as the corporation. This also, by the way, prevents travelers from squatting on your rate. So this idea of everybody going and shopping for the IBM rate code, hoping they get lucky, that no longer applies in this situation. The supplier is actually able to confirm with Concur that the individual who's shopping is in fact entitled to that corporate discount. So this is great. I've gotten my corporate discount. Now I go to actually make the booking, and you'll see I checked this little box that says send this reservation to Concur. That's all it takes. I've obtained my discount. I've put in my form of payment. I'm ready to go. I'm wrapping up the booking, and once again now, Starwood confirms, yes, in fact, they've sent this reservation to Concur. Now, if I go back to Concur, I'm telling you, it's like magic. Within 15 seconds, whoops, did we bump out of the presentation here? Let's go back. Thank you. Within 15 seconds, you'll see the Concur itinerary, or the SPG itinerary, I'm sorry, appear in the Concur booking tool. So this is key. SPG has sent this booking into Concur. That means it's not only part of the traveler's itinerary, and it'll get hooked up to my air booking, et cetera, but it also means that the travel manager can see this. It also means that any policies you put in place to flag bookings of room rates over $200 or non-preferred suppliers. Any of those policy flags you have in place for traditional GDS booking will also apply to this TripLink booking. So for the first time, you can apply policy to what previously would have been an unmanaged open booking. Now, of course, you can see if I actually go into the itinerary as a traveler, the confirmation says booked directly in Starwood. So there's no doubt, how this reservation was made. I can see this as a traveler. I have my confirmation number. If I were to cancel this reservation, go back to SPG, for some reason my trip changes, I cancel my reservation at Starwood, again, that cancellation is sent back to Concur automatically. So that's the connected reservation process, and this is in addition to the process that we've had for many years now, where I simply, if I make a reservation outside the system, if I choose to and I don't connect my accounts, I can also simply just forward that reservation to plans@concur.com. And again, if I forward that email to plans@concur.com, it's going to show up in my itineraries, again, be visible to my travel manager. It's going to apply to all policies. Really, the key difference here is if I'm just emailing my confirmation to Concur, I don't have the opportunity to take advantage of my corporate discount the way I would if I linked my accounts, right? So that's ultimately the advantage of linking the accounts. One important note, now that these reservations are inside Concur, they're not only visible to you, the travel manager, and the traveler, but they can also be visible to the TMC. We make all these reservations available to your designated travel agency, either via our API or other mechanisms. We don't charge them to give them that access. Lastly, just to give you an idea of who the suppliers are on board, some are live today, others are on their way this spring and this summer. As I mentioned, we have over 2,200 clients who have purchased this, a growing suite of suppliers who are participating, so it really offers a robust opportunity for you to expand your managed travel toolkit to include all distribution channels. So with that, I'll say thank you and pass it back to David.
Great, thank you, Mike. That formally ends our presentation section. We're now going to open up our Q&A session, and we will share the results of our poll we launched earlier in the meeting. Jonathan Spira will be leading the Q&A session. So, Jonathan, you should be okay to go.
Yep, I'm just uploading the slide right now. Give me 1 second. I'll be very happy to talk about the findings. As unfortunately, with my apologies to Mike, we just learned that you can't upload the slide while someone else is speaking. So I think I knocked him off for 1 second. Again, my sincerest apologies, but here comes the poll. Here I am. David, I just put the poll up. It disappeared. Oh, it's converting. Sorry. Okay, here we are. Hope everybody can see it. nice thing about using a new system is that not quite sure if it's actually showing it. But let me tell you what the slide says. Anyway, here we are. Now I can see it. Okay, one of the things I found interesting is that almost everyone in the event took the time to take the poll, so we appreciate that greatly because we had roughly a total of 50 people here, and we got 40 responses, which is wonderful. A lot of people commented on adherence to policy. One person in particular said it would be nice if travelers read the corporate travel policy before traveling, but I think that getting the information out to travelers, making sure people are aware of policies is just as important as all the other policy adherence issues. A couple of people mentioned getting actionable travel news so it can be used to lower the costs, lower cost, and also one person added to improve the travel experience, which I think ties into a lot of what we were saying. Another common theme, which 5 or 6 people mentioned, was keeping productivity up while traveling. We certainly had enough evidence in the conversation, especially with what Tyler had to say about, enjoying a nice lounge visit while you're on a very long trip, as well as things like Wi-Fi, both in the aircraft and in the hotel. And again, back to compliance, a few people mentioned rogue travelers, which I thought was very interesting, and that clearly ties into a lot of what Mike was saying and why we need tools, TripLink and others to help us address those issues. Well, we don't have time to go into all of the Q&A. A couple of people did ask about what I mentioned early in the meeting about free Wi-Fi at hotels. I'm not at all against free Wi-Fi. I just said that my thinking is that we need to make sure it's working, whether it's free or not. And a lot of the time, I seemingly think that hotels have come down to offering not so good Wi-Fi for free, and that is not a happy compromise for anyone. So with that, on behalf of David Goldis, myself, all of our presenters, our sponsors, LoungeBuddy, and Acura Media Group, I'd like to thank everyone for coming today and spending the past hour with us. It's been a pleasure. We will be back to you after the meeting with more information about the raffle prizes and the LoungeBuddy code and other information relative to what we've discussed, and we hope you'll be joining us again. Thank you, and good afternoon.
The meeting is now locked. The meeting is now unlocked.